Welcome to You're On in 5, The Art of Understudying.
The only podcast to celebrate the work of actors in understudy roles.
Understudying demands tons of preparation with minimal rehearsal.
Or sometimes none at all.
But it can end in triumphant glory.
In these conversations, we will amplify the diverse voices of actors who have understudied. We want to hear about the actor's technique, experience, and journey.
As well as whatever's on our mind that day. Hey, I'm your host, Elana Elise. I act, I coach, I produce, I direct, I write, I eat cheese. You might know me from Cheesies, where I was once seen eating lots and lots of cheesy things.
And I'm Scott Sava, the co-host of the show. And I'm an actor, coach, teacher, lots of other things too. You might know me from a year that I worked at Big Jones in Andersonville, right when they opened. I did a lot of brunches there.
All right. Our guest today is Lanisa Frederick. You might know her from Black Academics with Impact. I have known Lanisa for a lot of years, and I'm so happy she's joining us today. Welcome, Lanisa.
Hi. Hello.
Yes. So we like to get it popping with that question. What was your first understudy job?
So my first understudy job was 5 Rooms of Furniture by Donna Marie Branton. It was after I had graduated from Loyola University of Chicago. It was directed by Jonathan Wilson. And I was so excited and hyped because I had just graduated. And I was like, oh my God. Like LaDonna Tittle, who was like a classic, iconic Chicago actor, was in it. Penelope Walker, who I understudied, was in it. And so getting to follow her around. And I was like, oh my God, I know she's a queen. Oh my God. I have to do everything right. Ernest Perry was in it. This is just coming up with all sorts of memories. So just Black excellence was in this. And I was like a young 21-year-old just hyped. So that was right after college. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just so hyped to understudy these greats.
That's
right after
amazing.
college.
I understudied Penelope later in life, too.
Did you?
I did for something else. Well, obviously for something else.
I love it.
So great. So that's super interesting. That was kind of a big deal coming right out of college. Like, did you have any sense of what was expected of you as an understudy?
I kind of knew just like memorize and follow. I didn't really get much info out of that, but like, I didn't really get much direction. It was kind of like just memorize the lines and follow them around. But truth be told, I feel like my education in understudying came when I fast forward, did more work with Impact. On the other side of the table when I was in casting with Impact. And I was casting understudies. I was like, oh, this is what I need an understudy to do. Oh, I messed up. I was very lucky that I did not go on. I think Penelope was like, I ain't gonna let her go on. Because she don't know what she's doing. I mean, look, if they had called me, all my lines were down. I knew which way she walked. I think they let me like practice some things, but I didn't know how to really inhabit the character. I was just so hyped to be there. So I didn't really learn what it really meant to be an understudy until a little later.
And so were there, between that and casting with Impact, did you have understudy gigs?
I don't think I had anything else in between there. I think my next one was probably my biggest one with like regional theaters when I started understudying for like Steppenwolf and Goodman. So in between there, I was doing more regional work or more storefront work with theaters within Chicago. So I don't think I did any other understudying work per se. I did some double casting. So, like, I would play, one character within the cast, but then also understudy another character, which was, y'all, that's hell. Like, that's so mean.
I refuse to do it. Like, let's talk about it. Like, yeah. I mean, I've only been seriously asked once, and I seriously said no. I don't understand it.
I was not smart enough to say no. Like, I love Chicago. We were just talking about how Chicago is a home. I claimed it for people didn't know I was from Ohio. They didn't know I was from Ohio because I'd claimed Chicago so much. But in some ways, just like being in the theater scene, there were times that I'm like, why did I say yes? It has such a strong work ethic and such a, grind, hustle, hustle, hustle. But there were definitely some things I should have said no to. There were definitely some ways that we were taken advantage of in terms of like, yeah, we want you to do this whole play for pizza. We would also like you then to also understudy whilst in the play, too. Like, what? And I was like, yes, this is for the theater. I have to do so. And I did it. And why? I got paid in pizza and pasta.
Did you
For
have
why?
to do the other role ever? Did you have to swing over to the other part?
I did. Actually, this was later. So I am kind of skipping a little bit. My timeline is a little bit backwards, but there was a time that I did do that and I had to do the other role. And I was thrown a loop because she also had a dialect. So I was like, "Ugh, and this bitch is in RP. Fuck everything. And God bless this theater. I love them. And I remember thinking like, all I want to do is work at this theater. That's my life's goal. I really want to work. And now I think back and I'm like, really, bitch? I'm going to need your dreams to be higher.
Wait, but you probably learned something.
Oh, I learned a lot that I don't want to do that again. But this theater, and this is probably shady because they're going to be like, we know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
They did literally, like, during tech days, pay you in, like, pasta. Like, during tech, they'd feed you in pasta. And I'd be like, are we about to get fettuccine Alfredo? Meanwhile,
they fed
I'm
you
stressed.
and they didn't pay you, or
we got paid, but you look at those checks. By the time I drove there, like, what? I mean, Chicago, gas ain't like crazy LA prices, but it's still pricey, and rent ain't cheap.
Yeah.
So by the time you get there, that little cute check gone.
Yep.
So I'm understudying and playing somebody else in the show. And so also then you're doing that, and then so you get on stage and you're like, who am I? Who the hell am I right now? It was a little psychotic.
The role that you had, was it because I know sometimes with internal understudies, you have the smaller role, presumably they don't have as much to learn, so then they can go and understudy the lead role. Was that kind of the situation you were in for that one?
It was a decent sized role, I would say. So it wasn't something that was like, you have one line. If I remember correctly, it was still a decent sized role. Yeah, so it felt still significant, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Did you feel like your understudy was ready to go on for that one?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't remember.
That's fair.
I don't remember. I'm trying to think who my understudy was. I actually don't remember. They better have been because I had to go up.
Yeah. Well, how did they do?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Honestly, honestly, you are so focused on not messing up I can cuss, obviously, because I've been cussing the entire time. So I was so focused on not fucking up my side of it that I was like, good luck, sis. Get it. See you after the show. See you later.
And then completely forget about them for the rest of your life.
Right.
Apparently.
And clearly, watch they listen and they're like, bitch, we were besties. We hung out afterwards. They're probably like, bitch, I was at your house. Like, oh shit. Sorry.
I wrote you a card. Come on.
Oh, fuck. Oh, crap. Oops.
So much time has passed, honestly.
That was a lot of time.
Yes. Yeah, okay, so you are kind of all over the place. Then get to like do you have any memory of an understudy experience that was just enjoyable?
Oh, absolutely. I think several. Like, as this is one of the reasons you said enjoyable, and I was about to be like, so one of the reasons I left Chicago. This does go into my enjoyment. I swear.
Okay, let's go hype this city.
Hold on. I love Chicago. Chicago's home. I don't even claim Ohio, except for today because of the Bengals. So after a while, I think what it was is that people started to realize, like, we can count on Lanisa to be a solid understudy. And I used to take that as I'm a bad actor, so they don't trust me for a role. And it was we trust Lanisa so much that we know we can count on her to be an understudy. Which I get, but it also meant that, like, oh, I'm too trustworthy, so you were just going to count on me for that. I'm never going to be able to play in this capacity. Y'all going to need to find somebody else because I want to play the lead role.
Right.
I want to actually be in the show. But while I was navigating and not getting that yet, understanding that yet, rather, I had some amazing understudy experiences. One of my first big one within regional theater was doing Measure for Measure. And that's another one where I was in the show and had a small role and understudied. So that Measure for Measure, which Bob Falls directed, and I understudied Celeste Cooper, which was so much fun. And I got to go on a few times. And that was amazing where I learned so much because whereas in the other show where I was fighting for pasta and pizza, this one, they were like, okay, Lanisa, here's your hair, here's your makeup. All right, okay, let's get you dressed. All right, here's your lines. Are you ready? Like they were so, they helped me so much to prepare for everything. It was so supportive in that capacity that I was like, oh, this is what it could feel like. And they just took care of you in such an amazing way. So great, you had your fitting for your regular role. Great, we need you back for your understudy role. What? Oh, you're going to do an individual fitting for that? Oh, my God. So then right after that, I went literally at a day break and went straight into understudying By the Way, Meet Vera Stark at Goodman as well, which was also amazing because I got to understudy Vera, who Tam Perry played and Chuck Smith directed. Also an amazing experience, full of Black excellence. Teron Patton was in it. Like I said, Chuck Smith directed. Leroyce, he was understudying Danielle Pinnock. That's how me and her became friends. So, like, that was in itself an amazing experience for the people, as well as the show, because I got to meet Lynn Nottage, and that in itself was like, because it's Lynn Nottage. And then, so yeah, those were amazing experiences, as well as I would say Second City. You know, Second City had a moment where they ran out of Black people. Well, here's the thing. They didn't run out of Black people. They were like, oh, Black people exist. We should find them. Where are they? Oh, shit. We Negroes should be on stage, too. So, as a result of that, they started looking for us. And they called around to the theaters like, wait, y'all got Negroes there. Maybe they should come to us. And I got a call to come in to understudy over at Second City. And they were immediately just like, yeah, she understudies well here. Great. So I got to understudy all of the Second City main stages and go on. So I didn't know nothing about that life, but understudying there allowed me to get my AEA card. It allowed me to put Second City Chicago on my resume. I made a deal. And had my agent negotiate. I said, fine, if you all use me like that and be the token Negro understudy right now, the deal is I need all the free classes while I'm doing this. So they gave me all free classes, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
So that was enjoyable. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah, we've heard so many good things about the Goodman in particular. and the way they treat their understudies. I mean, in that situation, for Measure and Measure, you were in the show. For Vera Stark, were you also in the show, or was that like a true understudy?
That was a true understudy thing.
Mhm.
And that was, but it was still amazing. It
Yeah.
was crazy because when Goodman saw what I think had happened was, I'm just going to spill the tea. I think some Negroes had understudied and then played spades too long and may have or may not have had a whiskey or two, because there became an understudy rule that you could not leave until your character said their last line. So we found an understudy book that said, like, no, you cannot go to the bar during understudying. No, you cannot play spades during understudying. And we were like, there was some Negro that messed this up for somebody somewhere. So now we have to be punished.
That is hilarious.
This specifically, you can't play spades.
It seriously said, and we were like, something happened. Some Gem of the Ocean happened. Something. And some Negro was in here like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be on. And they up there reneging. Something happened.
That is hilarious. I also saw you in, I mean, I came because you were in Measure for Measure. Like, I came to see that play.
Oh.
Yeah, we were friends
That
even
was-
then. Like,
That was an interesting one. We've
been trying to figure out where we started being friends, Scott. We're failing. We don't know. It feels like as long as I've been in Chicago. But, like, I don't know, like, when Lanisa and I met.
Mm.
Exactly.
When did you get there?
2007. June of 2007.
Okay. Well, I got back to Chicago in 2007, I think, too. So probably right afterwards.
I don't know. We'll figure out one day in a dream on our way to sleep or in the
Mhm.
There we
bathroom.
go.
Okay, so check it out. So do you know of anything that, because your experiences, they're summaries of awesome and just a little bit of yeah. Is there anything you think you can pinpoint that you've learned as an understudy specifically that you took into your broader career?
I probably anything I learned as an understudy that I take into my broader career. Honestly, all of it. I know that sounds very broad, but I'll get more specific. I think I understudied at Steppenwolf. I did The Wheel with Joan Allen, which was such an amazing experience, and the multitasking in that was absolutely insane. I got called into understudy literally the day I think it was like the second day of the rehearsal. So clearly some went down. I don't know who was supposed to do it, but they called me. They were like, "Hey girl, what's up?" And I was like, "Okay, I can do it." And I'll never forget just being grateful for all the skills. I think this is what it is. Being bragging about the skills that you have and honing in on the skills that you have, and keeping up with the skills that you have that you might not think have anything to do with your craft, or adjacent to your craft. And I'll explain. So I get to the reading or the rehearsal, and I'm just sitting in the back quiet. I'm just like in awe because I'm like, oh my God, I'm finally at Steppenwolf. I have arrived. And they're discussing how the play should go because it was a very like avant-garde play. Should we add music here? Da-da-da-da. Should we do language? For that show, I ended up having to speak Vietnamese, French, I think Spanish, and then at the last minute, someone said, oh, I think at this part, she should play the flute, the character I was understudying. And I'll never forget the person I was understudying looked at me and said, good luck, girl. What are you going to do now? And I looked at her and I said, I played flute for 15 years. No one knew that. Nobody knew that I had played flute for 15 years. And I was like, Jesus Christ, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. But it just reminded me, like, keeping up with those skills that you think, like, oh, it's kind of adjacent, but I don't know. But from now on, I keep my flute.
Right.
I keep my flute. Is handy. Do I practice it every day? No, but it is ready. And if somebody need me to bang out a ditty, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. So I think being prepared and ready for whatever situation. And and being vocal about the things that you're able to do that might not seem relevant, but that can help. Be it yoga, be it your flute, be it whatever, juggling. These things help us as artists,
For
not
sure.
just the acting. So, yes.
Love that.
That's important. I was thinking about, or some years ago here, I used to play violin, and I was at a point where I'm like, I need to take some class of some sort, whether an acting class, which I'm very particular about where I would go for that, or one of my instruments, which my main instruments are violin and trumpet. And I was just still on the fence, and then like somebody sent me, I saw a posting, a listing for auditions with actors who play violin, right? And I was like, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. And then I saw one not long after that said, looking for actors of color who play violin. And I kid you not. And then I saw a third one. I don't know what these shows were. They weren't the same show. I kid you not. I saw one looking for a Black actress who plays violin. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. And so I started back up with one-on-one lessons. I started taking private lessons to kind of refresh myself. But I had never had so many clear fucking signs about a decision. Right.
Exactly.
In life. And I did, I took my lessons and but I didn't start being like, hey guys, I play violin, and I haven't seen any such postings. But for the 2 years that I was getting coached, I loved it. It was so great. It was so great to be back. And that was my first instrument. Like, I started playing violin when I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And it was
same.
Good. Yeah.
Same.
So, but I missed out on those opportunities because I had not been keeping up with that skill.
But at the same time, like, you would know how to pick it back up. Like, I think that's the thing, too. Like, I think we also have to trust. It's not like we would come in there totally blind. I'd come in, if they were like, play violin, I'd be like, I don't know. Versus, great. I hadn't picked flute up in probably like 8 years, but I picked it up and I was like, I remember this. I know this. I can figure this out. Yeah. And I had figured it out by the time I had to go on for the wheel at Steppenwolf. I knew that damn song.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, I know to play this.
Did your overstudy, as Scott likes to call them, did she play the flute already, or did she learn it for the show?
I think she did. She did know the flute. So I think that's what it was. I think she was like, well, I play the flute. And I was like, me too. It's
so satisfying.
It really was. Because I think she thought, gotcha. And I was like, nah, sis. Got you.
And well, she got to be like that anyway. What she should have been was like, are you good for this? Because we can work together a little bit if you're not. That's how she should have been.
Well, that's a different story. That's another podcast.
Okay, get me on there. So.
That's another podcast.
Lanisa, were you also in that show? Was that another internal understudy?
No.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
It sounds like it was multiple roles, like one track, but multiple roles within that track. How did you do that?
Jesus. I actually found it recently when I moved, and I was like, I can't throw it away. Like, I do not know where my head was, and I don't know how I did it, because it was multiple tracks, because I had like one main track, but then I had another track where the girl, like I said, she spoke Vietnamese, and then another girl that spoke French. I don't know how I did it. And I took Spanish. So I was like, now that one is not in my wheelhouse. I do remember meeting with a friend who spoke French, and he helped me a lot. Like, I still have recordings of him helping me. Luckily, and this helps too. I mean, I used to yell at my mom and dad and cry about it, but I went to a school where we had to take Latin for 3 years. And Latin is a foundation for, anything. So if you got Latin, you can figure out something.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be perfect, but you got a base for something. So I don't honestly know how I did it, because that shit was hard as hell.
And then have you had multiple separate tracks? Have you understudied like more than one role at a time as an external understudy?
Outside of that, no. I think after that I was like, and my brain is done. and we're done. That was cute.
Mhm.
And I think I just got picky. You get picky about what you want to do after that. Like, it's like, all right, what theaters would you want to work with? Who, what's the role? The 3 Ps. What's the pay, play, what is it? Wait, pay, play, production. Who are you playing with? What's the pay and what's the production?
Yeah,
Mm.
those are
So
great.
you get a little bit picky.
Never heard those 3 Ps before, and
3 Ps.
that's good. Them again.
So
Pay, play, production.
yeah.
Excellent. I like it. Yeah, I think that we don't often enough understudy when having to make the decision do so based on the product, like our actual interest in the show, right? Like
Right.
sometimes we're interested in a job or the experience, but
Right.
not. I try to decide in the same manner as if I were being cast as a principal, which is part of how I
Right.
ended up understudying Penelope. I understudied someone else in that show too, but I loved that show. So it was Love and Information at Remy Bubble. I
Yeah.
loved that
Oh, I
script,
remember
and
that show.
I was so excited to audition for it. And I don't always mark yes about if I would understudy a
Right.
show, and I was just like, yes, because my friends were on it tell me, Penelope, M. Joy, Frank, like Jennifer,
Yeah.
Glass, people I adore, and I'm like, just I'm gonna be in the room. I already love the script, now I'm gonna get this
Yeah.
other great experience. So like, yes, that was, but I don't think people really consider that all the time, especially when it comes to like what the theater is. Like, it's like if
Exactly.
that's who's calling me, then that's my way in, is how it's perceived. We forget
Exactly.
that we have
Yeah.
agency over our choices and such.
Yeah, I feel like especially with understudying, a lot of agency is lost. So it's just like, I'm just the understudy. And I am very guilty. There's a lot of guilt that I still have being on the other side of the table when I moved to casting, because I just didn't know a lot. And I just didn't know a lot, that I'm like, oh, I wish I had treated my understudies better. I wish I had. As I grew into it, I definitely did. But from the get-go, it's just, I don't feel like I empowered them or gave them enough agency as I wish I had.
Yeah.
It's one of my like regrets being on the other side, when I was on the other side of the table.
Yeah. Well, you had to learn,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is fine. We don't come into anything knowing all the things.
Yeah. Very, very true.
So on behalf of everyone, I forgive you.
Shut up. Shut up. Thanks.
Listen,
Thanks.
I was just gonna ask about what we're calling the aha moment. Like, when in your life did you know that this was your path? Acting, not understudying, but going into the performing arts. When did you know?
People ask that a lot, and sometimes I'm still trying to figure out stuff, and I feel like I accidentally kept going in it. I feel like I accidentally kept going, and I just didn't get off the train, if that makes sense. But when I think about doing other stuff, I'm like, ugh, that sounds dumb. Why would I do that? And then I'm like, oh, I got an audition. Like, there's no, sometimes I just feel like I don't know how to get off the train. Like, I don't know what would happen if I got off the train. I worked in education forever. I did nonprofit forever. But while I was about to say whilst.
That works.
Whilst I was doing that, though, I was still pursuing acting and still working as an artistic associate at Impact. So still doing things within, the industry.
Did you
So
start acting in like elementary school, like as a shorty?
Yeah. I mean, my mom had me. I was a baby model. So there are pictures of me from. I was a catalog model, a catalog baby model. So I started way back when in like what is now Macy's, but the old school Macy's, like in Ohio, essentially. So that's how I started, and then did like different things like that, and then started doing little theater in elementary school. So it's almost like the train. Sometimes I look around, I'm like, so other people stopped.
Mhm.
I didn't. Should I have stopped? But I find like I can't not do it. And I now do it in so many, I feel like moving to LA has caused me to reevaluate what it means to do it and find different goals and do it in so many different ways that I find joy in it. So I don't see myself getting off the train of the industry. Maybe it might mean I get off the train of acting in some capacity. It's always going to be there, and I will always love that. But I'm having fun exploring other aspects and facets of it as well. So
That's good.
We'll see.
Nobody wants you to get off the train. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to get off the train.
Well, moving to LA is such a reinvestment in your career in some ways. So what was the thought in like really doubling down and being like, you know what, I'm going to LA?
So, ironically, the final straw was an understudy position.
Great for our stories.
I know, and it's perfect segue. I had just moved back I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think so. I had booked a job in Singapore, and I was doing a theater show. I did Disgraced over there, and I was like, I think when I move back, I'm going to do it. I'm ready. Moved back, got a call to understudy a show, and I'm from the Midwest. I said yes. I was like, yeah, okay. It's one of those things where I'm glad I did it because it was a final push out, but I should have said no. Because number one, they had me understudy someone that was literally twice my age. They also had me understudy someone that sang. I sing. I can sing well, but I don't sing. And we all know what that means. I don't do that. Like, sometimes I can't find the beat. I ain't gonna lie. And they were like, here's a tambourine too, so we want you to sing and do the tambourine. And I was like, y'all couldn't find nobody else.
I got my flute.
Nobody. Guys, I have a flute and I took Latin. That's where I'm coming from. I said yes. Don't know. I do know why I said yes, because I was like, oh, this director, blah, 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 blah. I never even saw the director. That's what's so messed up. Never got to work with the director. When they brought me in, it was so late. It was like first preview. So on top of that, I got no work with the director. No one really cared. And they were like, by the way, the regular actor, what are they called? The main actor.
The
principal.
They have thank you. I was
Overstudy.
like, who they call? The regular people. They're leaving, and you have to go on for the last 3 weeks of the show. And I'm like, so I'm doing the run. So I didn't know that. I'm like, it's a 5-week run. I'm the run. I'm not the understudy.
Oh, man.
But they still booked me as the understudy. It was a crap deal.
Yeah.
It was a crap, and it was filled with like, some people got sick during it. It was just one of those shows you're like, is there one more thing that could go wrong? One more thing. But we pushed through. We did it, blah, blah, blah. Should have said no. But by then I was like counting down the time for LA. And I was like, my thing was, I want to go out there and I want at least one agent somewhere. I don't care what kind of agent it is. Could be a hand model, toe model, something, an agent somewhere. And I got one. I had my voiceover agent in Chicago hooked me up with a voiceover agent in LA. So that was my one agent. And then I quickly got a commercial agent. And I was like, bet, got 2. Bingo, bye.
Yeah.
And peaced out.
Nice.
Did you ever say no to any understudy opportunity that came to you?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. Especially that, but I did have straight up anxiety when you said that, like the audition sheet. Would you understudy? I used to be like, if I say no, then they won't consider me for anything. And now I'm like, no, I said no. I used to have straight anxiety about that. Like, oh my God, but I have to say yes. Yo, that Midwest Cincinnati thing be is hard. But yeah, I did say no a lot. But I probably had a moment of like, oh my God, but should I? And now I give zero fucks.
We've all worked in casting in some form, either as director or casting director or whatever. Have you ever looked at somebody's form and been like, oh, they didn't want to understudy? I guess they're not really interested in this part or this play.
No, not at all.
That's never happened on my part.
I put it on myself though.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we always have like weird standards for us.
Mm-hmm.
But for anyone else, I was like, okay, cool, next, cool. They don't want to understand, that's fine.
Yeah. It sure does make casting it hard though sometimes. Like when it's, when you go to what you think is your next, the person you might have cast if you didn't cast the person you cast, then they have not checked the box. And so you only, historically anyway, because I think this is changing, like you would only choose from who checked that box. But now I'm finding more places are not necessarily doing that and having understudy auditions. We can't just rely on this checked box because those people may not have necessarily been like top 3 choices in the first place, right? Like, so
exactly.
Trying to figure that out. It's a challenge to navigate in a way that feels fair on the producing side of things and equitable even, and with that objective idea of what's suitable, what's talented, what works. There's so many factors that many actors still, no matter how far they are in their career, don't fully understand, particularly if they've never been on the other side of the table, right? So like, the rejection element hits them hard no matter the process of the decision making. But I have had, lengthy conversations with some directors who are like super disappointed or concerned about an understudy they've selected ability to go on. And even before we started this, Scott, started this podcast, I was always so concerned about that. And why is this the person? Right? Like, why is this the person who is the understudy for this if there's so much anxiety around if they have to go on?
Yeah. And I've experienced that from working with a specific director that was like, oh, I don't trust them to go on. I'm like, but then why were you okay with me casting them as an understudy? Why did you let me do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because now I look shitty. Because now you're about to go cast somebody else to actually go on for the role, and they're sitting here as the understudy. So, and then there was no communication. It was like, okay, I'm going to I got blah, blah, blah to do it. Wait, but we have an understudy. Yeah, but I don't trust them. Then why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah.
I don't like that shit.
Yeah, no, it's no good. It's no good. So you've done some theater in LA, yeah? A little bit?
Yeah, I did a couple of I did 2 shows out here. That was cute.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's that then.
Look, LA is, it doesn't have the Chicago theater town vibe. I got very, very, very lucky that both shows I did were so Chicago entrenched, though. So it was like, it felt like Chicago. But outside of that, it's like, they also have a very weird contract out here that don't make no damn sense to me still. And I've asked people to explain their 90-seat equity rule, and I don't get it. They basically kind of pay you like a weird minimum wage kind of thing. It's weird. I don't understand it. Someone's explained it to me. They don't pay you. And equity out here is okay with that.
I was gonna say, are you maintaining your equity membership? You've done
It's
2.
really funny that you mentioned that. I, again, had whole anxieties like, I ain't paid it since like 2019. And then finally, literally equity, all caps. Is you or is you not go pay this bill? And I was like, I ain't paying this. For what? I don't want to do no theater right now. I can't get no health insurance through y'all. Ain't no theater out here. Y'all ain't helping me get no job. What we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a friend convince me, like, girl, just pay it, just in case. I'm like, all right, there is this show at CTG that I might want to look at. There is a show at Geffen that I might be curious about. So I did. I actually I think I tipsy paid. What I meant by that is I think I had like a Prosecco one night and accidentally paid.
Accidentally paid your dues. Well.
I think I did because this is the only reason I knew. A week later, I get a card in the mail, and I was like, I didn't pay these bitches. And then I was like, oh, I got drunk one night and paid. Who gets drunk and pays a bill? This girl, Midwest. The Midwest in me got drunk and paid a bill.
And paid a bill.
No
That's
one
brilliant.
does that but me. So, yeah. So, long story short, I paid it, but that's the last time.
Okay, who you
That's
convinced?
the last time.
I don't believe
I ain't
you.
paying y'all no more.
I don't believe you. And
over it.
Of course, all equity listens. They're supporters of this podcast, so they will hear.
Okay. Find me some work and let me get on that insurance.
Right.
Lanisa, when you were when you're acting in LA theater, I presume you haven't understudied, but have you had any understudy experiences there? Is there any kind of difference in tone or how they use understudies, or they expect to use understudies?
As far as I'm aware, they don't really do understudies here. I don't think they can. It's such a unless it's like the bigger theaters, like CTG or Geffen. So I, as far as I have heard, so I could be totally wrong, but it's really hard for them to do understudies at the smaller theaters, unlike Chicago, just because of everyone here's getting their checks from TV. Mm-hmm. So you can't expect an understudy to be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sit at this theater all day.
Right.
When they have a commercial that will pay their rent for the year. Mm-hmm. Ready to go, So this is what I've heard. And with the equity deal, whatever their crazy, LA 90-seat theater deal is, it's near impossible because, that barely pays gas to get anywhere.
Yeah. I think it's break time, yeah.
Okay.
Pee time.
We'll have more with Lanisa Frederick right after this break. All right, we are back with Lanisa Frederick, and now it's time for the breakdown.
All right, great. So, Lanisa, today's topic is that fantastic question. Can you cry on cue? So I want to hear your thoughts about that, but we also want to touch a little bit on the idea of crying on stage in general, and then whatever your thoughts are about having to do so on screen, because I think it might be different. But yeah, how you feel? Have you ever been asked, "Can you cry on cue"?
I don't think I've ever been asked. I can't. I have to be in the moment. Mm-hmm. I have to be in a moment. You get me in a show, yeah, I can work up to that. But no, I can't just be like, hi, how are you? I can't do it.
I'm so jealous that you've never been asked if you could do it. I would give so much to have never heard that in my entire life. Because it's so diminishing. Right? And with my experience with it, it is a way that people measure whether you're a good actor. Yeah, your abilities, right? And I think it's so fucking stupid.
It's really dumb. It's like, if I can't, does that make me a bad actor? Like, is that the measure of an artiste?
Right, and
Right.
that would be the thing that would impress them.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh.
the ability to do this is impressive, and it's such garbage.
Yeah.
They can cry on cue.
Yeah.
How
I can do a single
impressive.
know?
teardrop.
Yeah.
But so I once, when one of my early coaches as a teen, her thing was, and I carry this, although it manifests differently as I've aged in my skills and career. Your job as an actor is not to cry, it's to make the audience cry, right? Like, that was just this little snippet of whatever she thought she was teaching that day. But it helped me understand the difference between, like, aiming for that kind, like trying to make that happen to reflect how deep I'm in versus versus being just genuine in the moment, like you said, and having that impact the audience however it does. The other side of that for me is living in the reality of whatever story I'm telling. If tears come, it is from a place of truth. But when that first started happening, I was one of those people who would apologize for crying, right? Because I wasn't supposed to be crying. And I have actually, I've done that. I've been that person, and I've actually directed people who've been like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, they feel like they lost control because they cried, because the script doesn't call for them to cry or whatever. And so I've been able to coach people out of that feeling. But I used to definitely be like, I don't want to. And I remember a show I did in Evanston, and it was like this Next Theater, when it existed, used to have this new play in rep, like this segment. And I was doing this play, and throughout any rehearsal, I never cried, but like I was being sold to this white man when it was supposed to be a scam, and we were supposed to, the guys I was with, they were supposed to get like a lot of money, and the white man reduced the amount of money, and so when we had an audience for the first time, also they let me pick my shackles. And they offered me some fuzzy ones, and I was like, I'm not gonna take fuzzy shackles for this scene. I'll take some really awful looking, terrible ones. So that was a side note. So I'm looking at the guy who was trying to buy me, who was Sean Falch, right? We have the same birthday, by the way. He's gonna buy me, and I'm like disgusted by him, and he offers this less amount of money, right? And I look at the guy who's supposed to be on my team, and I can see, like, in the moment, I can see him deciding to take the lesser amount of money, right? And so for that very first time, I don't have any lines in this moment, and I'm looking at him and I'm pleading, like, please don't sell me for this amount, like, please don't. And like, as I see him decide to, because he's fantastic, Brandon Saunders, I see him decide to, I lose it. I look up at Sean, like, with so much, like, in this thing, and then I felt so bad because I had never done that before, right? Like, in all of our rehearsals, I had never done that. And I felt my apology to them was a matter of, did I disrupt your flow? Because now that we're in front of an audience, I'm doing this other thing, but it was really just living in the moment. So I know the impulse to apologize. So I felt so bad, and I was so apologetic, and I was like, you guys, I'm not going to do it tomorrow. You watch. I'm going to keep it together, right?
I'm fine.
And so, we're in the moment, ish, because I'm too busy trying not to cry, right? I'm not gonna cry. Put the shackles on me. I look at him. I'm not gonna cry. What's going on? I'm losing my way. Please don't sell me for it. And then just like, as soon as I locked back in,
it just happened.
I could not bear that he was selling me for the lesser amount after we had agreed. And so it was just like, and also I wasn't fully present because I was so focused on not bringing tears to the situation. So for our final couple of performances, I was just like, whatever happens, y'all, whatever. I just gave into it. But it was it was new for all of us that first night. And so I felt terrible that I had taken them through that. And poor Sean is such a sweetheart at heart. Like, we talked about it later.
Right.
He was just like, it just broke my heart, And so
Right.
so that was the thing about that first surprise of it is how did me doing that affect their performances? And what I came to understand from them is because it came from a place of truth, they weren't thrown as actors in their moment, because it wasn't like I was crying for any reason except
like,
for
oh
the
my God,
real
I need
reason.
attention. It came from a truth of honesty. It was truthful.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like figure that out. Especially if you've been instilled in your brain space that like, okay, don't cry. You're not supposed to. It's But I think that's bullshit. I also think it's bullshit that people were asking you, can you cry on cue?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's ever asked me that though.
Oh gosh, you're so lucky.
Alana, did you get any like notes from since that you said that was a preview, right?
It was just a short run of new play, right? Like, so we just had like 4 performances or something.
So it wasn't like here's 12 notes.
No.
Don't cry.
No, it was not. It was not. But I have seen it, and I feel like because my approach to acting is very gut, very, very truthful, and even, when I'm coaching, so when I see it happen, when I see somebody specifically crying on stage that isn't, and it's not connected to truth, I can tell, and then I don't feel anything. And then I'm like, why are they doing that? And even when when a playwright writes in a script that a character cries, sometimes if I'm directing, I am very much like, if you don't feel that and that, don't do that. Like, don't aim for that because the playwright put it in there. You don't have to. We're not trying to tell false stories. And who's this playwright? Is the playwright directing? Why don't they direct us then? Quit trying to direct from stage directions.
Also, it's like that's what the playwright was feeling at that moment, and that's where they were then, and they didn't see it. They were just writing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very different.
Yeah, I was really hoping that you had, had that experience because I love how you talk about stupid things.
Yeah, I ain't had nothing that stupid.
God,
sorry.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad for you. In my jealousy that this shit has missed you, I'm glad for you.
Yeah,
because it is about I feel like I'm certain that I did share it with you at the time. It was a lot of years ago. I told Scott about this earlier that someone was sent to me for referrals, and when I was asking them, I think you might have been the only person I told this about actually at that time. That's what that person asked me. That person was like doing stage plays. And asked me for actors, and I'm like, I know a bunch, right? I'm like, I know a bunch. What do you need? And then he's like, I'm looking for people who can cry on cue.
What does that mean?
And I was like, I know people who can, tell the truth of your story, who don't measure their skills and whether they can generate tears. If you want some of those,
and what they say,
I didn't hear back from him.
That was too many big words. I know actors that can tell the truth of the dialogue that clearly fucking sucks because you just asked me, can somebody cry on cue?
Yeah, it's a very strange understanding of what we do and how we tell stories, and that's what strikes me about it.
Yeah, I feel like that question does kind of come from the world of TV and film a little bit. Because, you imagine somebody on set, it's a very different situation than if you are, in the run of a show, that, you do have to put out of your mind all of the cameras, all of the technical people, and deliver something that is visually showing that you are crying. It can be a little different, but I don't know. Lanisa, have you seen anything like, have you ever been on set where you had to cry or somebody else had to cry or anything like that?
I think I shot a film called Rin, which was beautiful, about a mother that was addicted to drugs, and she wanted to see her daughter, and she snuck in to see her kid. Her kid was like 13, living with the dad, and the daughter finally let her in. Father came home and caught them, and the father kicked her out. So there was a scene where the father literally like picked me up and threw me out the house and was like, "No, you don't deserve to see your kid." And I run back in and like bang on the door, blah 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 blah. But that, I mean, it's so emotional that tears came.
Yeah.
It was the truth of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, my kid who I'm like, hey, I'm finally clean. I'm finally clean. Like, I came to the door with I forget what they're called, but there was like AA badges or like NA badges
Mm-hmm.
proving that I've been clean for
Mhm.
like a month. Like, hey, I brought you something. Look, I am clean. Can I hang out with you? And we're having this beautiful moment. And then it gets snatched away from the dad. It's like, no, you've said this one too many times. And rips it away, and I come back and scream and cry and blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't like, and now you have to cry. It came from that situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, I don't, because you mentioned, Scott, like, oh, the cameras, the crew, da 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 da. I don't remember the cameras or the crew.
Mhm.
I don't remember that there.
That's
And
good.
maybe because for me, like, film and TV is like so much more intimate in some way.
Mhm.
Um, that I can, if you're in that moment, I can just block that out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
'Cause you the real deal. That's why.
Mhm.
I'm the real deal out
I
there.
do know a person who, for a commercial, they put salt in her eye.
Oh my
Ew.
god.
Yeah, it was like more like a PSA. I remember that she was pregnant. The character in the PSA thing. Yeah, I don't remember what the point was, but it was sad, I guess, and they needed her to cry, and they put salt in her eye.
Now, I would say I think a commercial to cry in would be hell of a lot harder. Commercials are wild, wild west. They're crazy. You be getting a script when they say action. You have no emotional connection to a fucking Twizzler. Like, there's nothing. There's
Right.
nothing, crack addicted mom seeing her daughter for the first time. It's very different from
Yes.
here's a
Yeah.
Twizzler, cry.
Yeah.
I can get that. So that's a little, I might be like, yo, give me some teardrops because I'm not going to cry for a Twizzler. I'm
Yeah.
not.
I would hope there isn't a commercial with Twizzlers that requires crying.
You never know. Twizzlers could make someone sad.
You're right.
Or
Okay.
tears of joy.
Tears of joy.
Or tears of joy. You never know.
True.
And that'll be our breakdown.
Right.
Okay, so
One never knows.
now it's time for prom.
Just like that.
All right, so Lanisa, in props, we like to give names of people who we've seen understudy who have killed it, who maybe were your own understudy, or maybe they were your overstudy and they were really great to you while you were working together. We also shout out to stage managers that we love and who have helped us to complete understudy gigs. So what do you got for that, Lanisa?
Yes. Let me see. Definitely stage manager front. Alden, who was stage manager, he just retired after like 4,000 years at the Goodman. Literally 4,000 years. Definitely taught me a lot of just about understudying and being generous, but a hard ass and on it. He was definitely amazing. Ojo, who they would call him Ojo, also at the Goodman. Badass stage manager who definitely also was kind and gracious, but made sure that you were taken care of. Tina, who was at VG, another. I'm naming all the stage managers because stage managers need love.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
Also, freaking amazing as well. Mama D, not the stage manager, Mama D, who stage managed a lot with Impact. Also, was very like gracious and kind and very helpful when stuff went down. So this is now an understudy shout out. So I'm trying to think of like understudies that I've also seen kill it. Oh, so I saw Aida years ago, and I didn't get to see Heather Headley. And who was the understudy that whoever went on for her, who was just as famous, beasted it. I can't think of who it was, but I remember watching that and being like, wow, well, the understudy was like, that was amazing. So that was an amazing understudy. Who else have I seen as an amazing understudy?
I promise you don't have to think of every single one.
Is that enough, guys? Did I win?
I love all the stage manager love, because we really can't do our job. We can't do our job without them.
Seriously.
They do.
Stage managers are everything.
Yeah.
At first, when you said props, I was like props I like to use?
Mm-hmm.
Brain hurts.
Right.
That's okay. You're not the first to think that. It is an associated term.
It was. Mm-hmm. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Working on several levels here.
Yes.
Well, and we never even mentioned #booked at all.
Holy shit!
That's okay. It's fine. But let's shout it out so people can follow.
Yeah.
Talk about
Well, Lanisa, can you tell us a little bit about like what was like the inspiration, I guess?
Yes. So part of the joys of understudying, what came from that is me meeting my co-creator, my co-artistic wifey, Danielle Pinnock, and we created #booked, which is a improvised series that we started having moved out to LA when we were not booked, and it chronicles our adventures in being actresses, being blackstresses, and they are sketch series. So it's a sketch series. So we have it's crazy what we. Looking back at some of the sketches yesterday, we had a meeting and we were going through some of the sketches. Looking at some of the stuff we've done, it's been insane. We've been featured in Essence, Forbes. We are working to create it into a television. We're in development for a few other things that NDA we're not allowed to talk about. But it's really been a ride and a journey because coming from basically the basement of Goodman. And now she's a series regular on Ghost, and I am doing like series regular on a few different animations, as well as literally like I have 4 national commercials running right now, which I'm very blessed about right now. It's been a ride and it's been a journey. So follow #booked on Instagram, and stay tuned for more for that. We're really excited about what we got coming up.
Talk about manifesting your dreams.
Manifestation.
#booked.
Yes.
#booked. It's so great to have you here.
This is awesome. When I learned that you guys were doing this, I was like, I want to be on.
Yeah.
I've understudied.
And I'm so grateful because, I was really only hesitant because you all big time. And I don't want to be all like, hey, big timer, might I ride your coattails with my podcast? Anyway, but it's true though. I thought of you and I was like, so I was so thrilled that you wanted to do it.
I'm so excited for you guys. You guys are killing it. So thank you.
And Danielle wasn't available, so.
Oh, you know what? No, you know what? Lanisa, go ahead and say fuck him. He said something very mean to me earlier for no reason. Like he woke up on the fucking mean train today.
I'm
and he's all, I'm Scott. I'll be forgiven. That's something he must be thinking, cause.
All right, Scott. Cool. Delete.
No, but do ask her if she wanted in. Like, do ask her if she wanted to.
What recording is this? What record? Oh my God, I lost the recording. This is crazy.
Just send him go record Blake on Audacity and just send him this long ass silent file.
Don't do that.
Like a whisper.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my
bad.
God. You just send him audio of you eating your delicious breakfast.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, about that. I went out there and I was like, well, where's breakfast? He's like, well, I got you some potatoes. He literally got 4 potato wedges and kale salad with like 3 strawberries in it. And I was like, nigga, what is this?
Where's the bacon?
What is this? Where's the bacon? Where's the eggs? Well, I ate the egg sandwich. Well, where's the rest of the... I don't even eat salads with fruit in it, and you know this.
Like you could have ate the strawberries up off the salad if you had to be eating my breakfast.
Like, I guess I should have saved you half the egg sandwich. Should I go back? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
actually, now I'm going to end this call and go break up with him.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck with that. I hope
Thanks,
y'all able
guys.
to work it out. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. All
We'll see.
right.
Love y'all.
Michael,
Love you
thank
back.
you so much,
Thank you, my
Lanisa.
dear.
Okay, cool. Bye-bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed our conversation today with Lanisa Frederick and that it gives you deeper insight into the art of understudying.
To send us a question or give us a suggestion of somebody we should interview, you can email us at understudypodcast@gmail.com.
Or hit us up at UnderstudyPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We want to thank all of our Patreon subscribers, particularly Stanley Sava, Marcella Huff, and Andrew Sava.
If you want to support the show, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/understudypod.
Our theme song and all other music are by Laura McKenzie.
Our episodes are edited by Scott and produced by me and Scott.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, please tell all your friends, like us on all the things, comment, and tell your friends, share us everywhere.
I think Scott wants you to engage. And if you hated it, tell your enemies to engage.
Mm-hmm. And tell their stupid kids too.
Yeah, their kids. Their kids?
And their parents.
Tell people, tell whoever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we don't really mind if it's people you like or people you don't like.
Yeah, we just want people to listen and engage. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.